I was talking about pricing, and I said that when you go to your Azure subscription, yeah, on your subscription, one of the things you will see in your subscription is uh, how much you have as your cost. Like in this subscription, you have our starting credits as $150. You understand? Presently, you have spent this. No, no, no. Sorry, you have spent this. Look at, you have spent what is this today? Let me go to my cost analysis so we can look at it very well. So please just note what I said initially, that we have $150. Good. So out of the $150, I have spent this as at today, $117. Please, can you do you take note of that? By tomorrow, you understand? I can tomorrow is by this time tomorrow I can be spending $130. My forecasted spending as at on the 14th is going to be $139. And please, do you know that I said that we have $150? So what do you think I can do to minimize my cost? Do you understand? I go to my Azure Pricing Calculator, look at my resources. Let me start afresh again from my pricing calculator. Okay, sorry, good. Okay, so for my pricing calculator, I can say, okay, I need to create a storage account. Add to estimate. I need to create a storage account. Good. Storage account added. You just want storage account. My monthly payment is going to be what? $21 for this particular storage account. You can see it. I can also say, okay, $21 is still fair enough for me if I'm giving a $200 this thing free trial, as I mentioned initially. And I go back to my resources and say, okay, I want to create another resource again. I want to create a virtual machine. Add to estimate. My virtual machine has been added to estimate. I go to my estimate. My storage account will cost me $21 per month. Looking at all these parameters. Do you understand? Now my virtual machine in East US will cost me, my virtual machine will cost me $137 per month. My total cost will now be $159 out of $200. I can now say, okay, based on this uh, details given to me, what decisions can I make to reduce this cost? I have $200 to spend for this month. How do I want to reduce my spending for this month? I can say, okay, let me go to my calculator and review it. What can I do? I go to my virtual machine. Okay, please, can you guys see this? Get that free trial that I talk about? Please, can you confirm that you can see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Good. So it's $200 free trial credit. We will now say, okay, how do I reduce my cost? I can say, okay, let me change location. Okay, I don't want to do it in East US. I think East US is kind of expensive. You understand? Let me use West US. Maybe it will reduce my cost. Maybe. I go and check it. I say, does it reduce it kind of from you guys' view? It just reduced it by like a little amount of dollars. Okay, minutes please. Okay, so it's just reduced it by a little amount, like let's say like or $4 or $5. That is not kind of reduction I'm kind of expecting. I can say, okay, let's go back. You understand? What and what again can I do? I can say, okay, let me change the location back to East US 2. Let me use East US 2. Maybe it will reduce it. East US 2 is telling me that they will give me that same virtual machine with all these necessary details for 170 and $137. If that is okay for me, I can do that. But if it's not viable for me using a $200 credit, I can come back here and say, okay, this I need to create other resources. I have to create a function app. I have to create a what do I call this app service. I need to create a virtual network. I need to create a network interface. I need to create a subnet, create many other resources. So I don't think I need to spend this amount on only a virtual machine. I can now go back here and say, okay, let me reduce it. Look at what I can do to reduce it. I can reduce the tier from standard to basic. Reducing the tier from standard to basic, it brought my cost down from 130, I think $137 down to $13 per month. It's a very, 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 very good deal for me. Do we get it? Also, please note that the instance of the virtual machine reduced since when I changed it to basic. It's changed it from, I think it was D series to AO series. So I can now say, okay, let me look at my series. Can you see the cost of the series that are here? You have this is going to cost me $0.1 per per hour running this virtual machine. And you can see there are difference. They have differences with their memory and their CPU and their internal memory. That's you can see the details and the cost it's going to cost me per month. Let me now give it like for instance, I want to use this. Let me see how much it's going to cost me per month. Can you see it? If this one is not even way too high than my expectation, I can go back and say, okay, I think that is too much for me. Let me use this. What is it going to give me? This one is giving me $25 per month. I think it's better, even though it's not the barest minimum. This is better. Okay, I'm going back here to look at this. I have my storage account. I have my virtual machine to go. My total cost for my virtual machine and my storage account for the month is going to be $47.39. Please, I think we are okay with this one. The next thing again we want to go and look at is, okay, we are going to create a virtual network. Okay, how much will it cost for me to have a virtual network and the other details that are needed in it? So let's go to networking, your virtual network, add it. Okay, my virtual network and okay, this virtual machine. So virtual network, my virtual network is just costing me $4 per month. I think it's cheap to use. So that's that for my virtual network, and my total for the month will be $51. I think that's still impressive enough. That's my thoughts on it. The next thing again, let's look at other things that we can add to it. I want to use Azure Bursting. I don't want to. I'm going to explain Azure Bursting when I'm talking about resources, maybe later in our classes. So I want to add Azure Bursting. So what Azure Bursting means that I want to be able to connect to a virtual machine from my browser. You understand? I don't want to be doing what is called RDP, remote desktop. Instead of using remote desktop, I will just use Bursting and to connect using the browser. Let me just add Bursting to it for security purpose, and I think we'll be good. Bursting, how much will my Bursting cost me? Basting will cost me $138 per month. So do you think we should keep it or we just remove it?
Since you are trying to manage cost, let's
Uh-huh.
remove it now.
Let's remove it. Okay, that's good. I think you guys are now getting it. Um, delete. Okay. I've removed my basting from the process. So let me look at other resources that we can create. I want to create my app service, for instance. Uh, compute. I want to create my app service. App service, how much will it cost to have your app service? I can use my front end to be in my app service. You can see. So my app service alone is costing me $54 monthly. It's kind of too expensive for me. So what can I do? I can change the location to East US and see if it's going to affect it. It's still $54. Let me use a Linux. Okay, so I would prefer to use a Linux. Can you see the difference between a Linux and Windows app service? Windows app service is going to cost $54 for the month. I can choose to use a Linux operating OS for my box, and my total cost is going to be $63 for the month. Also, you know that my backend application is going to be in my virtual machine. My front end application will be in my app service, but my application is going to need something called a database. I need to create a database for it. Okay, let me go and look for a database and check the cost for it. My database, which kind of database do I want to use? I want to use Azure SQL database. I'm adding it to it. So, how much is my database? My database is going to cost me $368 per month. He and I'm having only $200. My total cost will now go high to $436. So what can I do when I have this project to achieve? I can say, okay, let me just do something. One of the things I can do is, okay, let me take out some things. Watch it. Let's see. East US single database. Uh, I just want to tweak it and see. This one is more expensive. Business. Let me give it to general purpose. General purpose is kind of more expensive. Business. This one is more expensive. Hyperscaler will be. Hyperscaler is kind of cheap. Okay. So I can look at the compute there. Provision or serverless. Serverless is going to cost me a total of $2. I don't think we should have a virtual machine. Sorry, a database that is serverless. It's not ideal, kind of. I can say, okay, look at standard series, DC series. Let me see the cost. DC series is kind of expensive. Standard series, 500. The core, let me change it to core. Can you see? Just changing it from 4 core to 2 core. You reduce the price by up to half of the initial amount. You understand? Now, look at this thing. Redundancy. Let me see my redundancy. Redundancy. So we have maybe it's local redundancy or zone redundancy. We'll talk about it later when we are talking about storage accounts and on those processes around it also. So let me see zone redundancy. There's no major difference on it. Okay, so the uptime I can say, okay, I don't think I can now calculate my cost in terms of the hours. For instance, how many hours is in a day? You have 24 hours. How many days is in a month? You can use your calculator to now start calculating that thing. How many hours do I want my database to be up per day? You understand? For instance, you have sorry, please give me a minute. Okay, so you have 730 hours. I can say, okay, I want my database to only be up for 12 hours per day. You understand? So I can say 12 hours per day times 30 days. So 12 times 30 days. So I want it to be up for only 360 hours per day. I think that will reduce my cost greatly. 360 hours per day. Can you see that it reduced my cost to $131 per month? Next thing again. So I will talk about this reservation. So there's something that Microsoft does called reservation. So how the reservation actually works is that, and when I'm doing a reservation, it reduces the amount of cost I pay for that resource because of I am paying for reservation. Let me give you an instance of it. Like now, for instance, you want to buy data for your mobile internet and so on and so forth, and you are paying 1,000 naira per month for 1 gig. Now, the service provider is coming back to meet you and say, "Oh, we have a new deal now." So that new deal works like this: if you are paying for like 12 months, instead of you to pay 1,000 naira per month, which will, the accumulation will be 12,000 naira at the end of the month. Now we are going to make it cheaper for you because you are paying upfront. You can now pay 900 naira per month for 12 months. So you pay the cumulative money. So you are paying upfront. So that is what this reservation means. For instance, if I'm doing a reservation for 1 year, you can see I can bring in my charges. I'm paying upfront, and it will have a kind of reduction in my price and so on and so forth. But it's not everybody that really enjoys this reservation process. Like for instance, you are looking at reservation for 1 year, it's giving me $173. Can you see it? If I'm doing reservation for 3 years, it's going for $120. Can you see the difference? So now I'm going to say, okay, I want to do pay as you go, and let me live with my peace of mind. You understand? So that's pay as you go, and it's $131. Next thing again we want to talk about is high availability replica. So high availability replica, I'm going to talk about many of all these things when we come to talking about storage and so on and so forth. But for now, just bear with me as I just glance through it. So high availability replica, that means how do I want my database to be available all through the period? Like it should really, really be available. So this time around, I don't need a replica. You understand? Let me just change this to 0. I don't need a replica. Named replica. I don't need any replica. Just leave me like that. The next thing again I want to talk about is storage is dynamic, allocated between 10 gig and 10 terabytes. So you are going to be paying. So this storage, what this thing means is that in some scenarios, you will consume more of your database than you expect. So that's why this thing is added to it. So the next thing again, you have backup processes. I don't need a backup. Don't backup anything. Just give me $0 for this one. Long-term retention, 5 gig. Everything here is weekly retention. Retention process, that means if you delete a data, or you need a backup of particular time. For instance, some, I don't know, maybe so some things occur in enterprise scale whereby somebody press control delete, like you drop a table. I'm talking about in terms of database. Now maybe you mistakenly drop a table, or you mistakenly drop a column, or something just happened to your database. So you want to, okay, let me go to uh my retention process. So I should want to check my backup. Maybe there's anything there that I can use to restore it back. Okay, I go to my I go to my retention process and say, okay, I want this thing to be backed up weekly, or I want it to be backed up monthly, or I want it to be backed up yearly, and so on and so forth. So that's what all this thing really means. So long time cost of long term backup retention and so on and so forth. This is zero. So at the end of the day, our total cost falls to $197, meaning that we are almost consuming all of our money. So we can say our database is the one consuming more of our kind of $200. Please, do you understand? So with this, I'm able to explain how the pricing calculator works, and also uh, how using it is going to affect your decisions on the resources you are creating, your forecast. I explained your forecast, your cost analysis, your alerts, your budget, and so on. I'll be able to explain all of that today. Thank you very much. Anybody with